What's up, guys? This is Neil. Linear alkyl benzene sulfonic acid, or LAS, is the largest by volume surfactant in the world. It's about a 5 million ton market. The precursor is LAB, linear alkyl benzene. People often refer to them as the same thing because the only use for LAB is LAS. You'll also hear the term LABS, LAB sulfonic acid, or LABSA. Same thing. LAS, LABSA, LABS, precursor, LAB, linear alkyl benzene. So this is what it's looking like, and you'll see it's the familiar tadpole motif. Here's the chart, and you can see there's a benzene ring with an alkyl chain attached to it. There's a couple of positions there, and we explain the difference on this slide between the high 2-phenyl and low 2-phenyl product. And of course, to make this LAB into a surfactant, you sulfonate it, put an SO3 group on the ring, and you've got LAS, a beautiful tadpole motif. So where does all this stuff come from? We'll see on the next slide that it comes from petroleum refining. And there's a couple of streams that we, as members of the surfactant industry, are interested in. The naphtha stream around C6 to C8. You're getting your benzene from there. And the kerosene stream coming out of the alkylation unit. There's the C12, average C11 to 13, alkyl chains that come from there. Stick those together, you get your LAB. Most LAB plants today are fully integrated and attached either as part of or right next door to a petroleum refinery. And we'll see in this chart from Honeywell, UOP, what a typical flow chart looks like. Kerosene coming in, benzene coming in. You'll see the two major products there are LAB and so-called HAB, or heavy alkylate. You're going to get around a 92% of LAB, linear alkyl benzene, which is what you built the plant for, and around 7 or 8% of that co-product, byproduct, heavy alkylate. There have been a couple of innovations, even though it's a very mature technology, a very mature product, as we'll discuss in a minute. A couple of innovations in recent years, one of which gives you the ability to tweak, to dial that ratio between LAB and HAB coming off the plant. If you're interested in getting a little more HAB or trying to eliminate that as much as possible, you can do that with this fairly recent innovation from UOP, the Detal Plus process. The other innovation also from UOP gives you the ability to retrofit the old style HF, hydrofluoric acid catalyzed LAB plants, to give you the ability to produce both low and high 2-phenyl product out of the same retrofitted unit. And so that's kind of a useful capability and probably one of the biggest process technology changes that we've seen in the world of linear alkyl benzene recently. So what does one of these plants cost, and what do the economics look like? Well, the short answer is I don't know what a plant costs. I've heard estimates. Ranging from $200 million to $400 million for a 100,000 ton per year plant. If that's true, the math kind of works out fairly interesting. If you look at ICIS pricing data, ICIS pricing data for the past 10 years for linear alkyl benzene FOB Asia, the average price, and it varies quite a bit as you guys know, but the average price is $1,360. So let's just take that, $1,360. If you earn a 20% gross margin on that, that's roughly $272 per ton. If you earn a 40% gross margin, which I think is pretty high, that's $544 per ton. And so if you look at a 100,000 ton plant, at that 20% margin level, you're going to get $27 million of gross margin coming off the plant on an annual basis. At that 40% margin level, you're going to get $54 million coming off the plant. And so if you look at the different possible levels, or the range, if you like, of investment for that plant between $200 and $400 million, then at the low margin, right, the $27 million a year gross margin, and the high investment, the $400 million investment, it's going to take 15 years for you to pay that plant back. That's too long. If you pick the high margin, $54 million a year, and the low number for investment, you get payback in 3.25 years. So, what does this mean? My gut feeling is that the margin isn't 40%. It could be 20+%. I mean, this is a commodity chemical, but it's a commodity chemical with a limited supply base. And the capital expenditure, I doubt that's as low as $200 million, honestly, today. 400 seems a bit high. So, investment in a new LAB plant, it's kind of borderline. It's not a slam dunk. It's going to depend on a lot of things in terms of your raw material integration and your offtake commitments. I wrote a column, it's soon to be published in HPC Today, that talks about, that compares the LAB market, linear alkyl benzene, to the fax machine, because they were both commercialized in 1964. Fax machine is gone. I'm going to declare 2024 the official death of the fax machine, because I haven't sent a fax for at least 10 years. Fax machines lasted 50 or 60 years. LAB is still absolutely going strong. Can it last another 50 or 60 years? I think so, especially with initiatives around biomass balance and a lot of research work around renewable LAB, or at least renewable portions of the LAB molecule. Can it last for 3 fax machines, right? Another 100 or 120 years on top of where it is today? I don't know. I mean, there are not any surfactants. The surfactant industry itself is barely that old, although bar soaps or soaps in one form or another have lasted for millennia. So let's see. But anyway, there is your 5-minute capsule on LAB, LAS, LABSA, whatever you want to call it. I hope you found it useful. If you would like to see specific topics covered in these capsules, please send me a message or leave a comment below. And as always, thanks again for listening.